Yes, absolutely. Number one, there is a rate of descent. A rate of descent, and we can all imagine these are simple concepts. And I'd like to reiterate that in all of my technical discussion, in any of our technical discussion, it needs go further than, meaning it doesn't. We need no more complexity than 10th grade science, 10th grade math, Pythagorean theorem, 10th grade physics, 10th grade chemistry, basic chemistry. This is chemistry 101, college level, 10th grade chemistry at the high school level. One can imagine if an aircraft is flying at elevation 35,000 feet, well, it has to descend to land on the ground. Well, it's still flying in the air. It's not going to point its nose straight down and go straight to the ground. No, it's got to gradually descend from altitude down to zero. Well, we call that rate of descent. A lot of people don't talk about this. Now, I'm bringing up a new topic to Flat Earth, and I'm really bringing up a new topic to the average pilot. The average pilot does not talk about rate of descent. And how do I know? Because I've talked with several pilots, and they cannot quote their rate of descent. Why do I know it? Because I memorized Army federal regulated rate of descent, which was 500 feet per minute. For 18 years, I memorized 500 feet per minute. That's for my first 2 years as an Army aviator, I memorized 500 feet per minute is the standard rate of descent. Well, that's for landing. Okay, let me reiterate. That's for landing to a full stop when the airplane wants to land to the ground and stop. That's 500 feet per minute. But we, in the Flat Earth community, we know that for an airplane to fly around the globe, the supposed globe that is, there's a rate of descent associated with 8 inches per mile squared. So if we do the math, the 8 inches per mile squared at the average, assuming an average airspeed of 500 miles per hour or that's really a ground speed, but it's moving through the air at 500 miles an hour. Associate that with 8 inches per mile squared. Well, the math gives us the following: 2,777 feet per minute rate of descent for that airplane to follow the globe. Okay, and that is right. A continuous descent, not to land. That is a continuous descent while the aircraft is at altitude flying along.
Wow.
Well, let's compare that. Let's make the comparison now. 500 feet per minute to land the airplane to a full stop at an airport. On the globe, the airplane has to descend continuously at 2,777. That's more than 5 times the rate of descent for a landing, and that's a continuous descent. So I did some more math today, by the way, Vika. Thank you for asking. It's average 500 feet per minute. Okay, so I looked up gravity, 32 feet per second squared. Okay, that's the quote supposed gravity, right? If you drop something, it in a vacuum, okay, it falls at 32 feet per second squared. Well, let's convert that to feet per minute. That is 1,920 feet per minute. Okay, that's gravity. Now, let's remember, an airplane flying around the curve of the globe at 500 miles an hour must maintain a rate of descent of 2,777 feet per minute, which is almost 1,000 more feet per minute than something falling in free fall. That's absurd. That's the most absurd measurement we could have. So I'm bringing that to the Flat Earth community. That's what the math gives us, Vika, and everybody else. Can we see the perspective here? The 8 inches per mile squared around the curve of the globe at 500 miles an hour, that's faster than free fall. That's more absurd than one can imagine. Vika, that is the simple math. That's high school math right there.
So, I've been intrigued, and I keep taking notes as you keep talking, that there's always this new, it's not new measurements. It's not new. Rate of descent is nothing new.
Standard.
But what people seem to forget is the globe model, the heliocentric model, that science and math is never used in a functioning application.
Exactly.
Never, ever.
Because it
So-
proves the fraud if they ever do.
Exactly. So kudos to you, and Rated Ascension just made my list of bullets in the gun.
That's a foundational effect of flat Earth, isn't it? It's a foundation.
Amen, brother. Amen. That and elevation angles, that and you triangulation, and I mean the list just keeps growing and growing and growing. And so thank you.
Exactly.
I don't want to take a lot of time here, but thank you, Rob.
Yep. And that's my point, Lon. That is exactly my point, and that's why I send out these messages to everybody in the group so everybody can see and understand. Anybody can do this math. Pilots don't know anything that's not normal. They have more experience with it, but just because they're a pilot doesn't mean they know something special. Anybody can do this math, and anybody that does this math and can explain it, well, they're smarter in this effect than the average pilot.
Amen.
Take it and run.
Amen. So I sat in that co-pilot seat for so many times, and had I known then what I know now, it just would have been a no-brainer. I know you bring a plane up to elevation, to your altitude. It's locked in, and you don't bring it down until your point of destination is arrived at. It's point A to point B. That's it, and there is no curvature. So, all right.
I don't know what to add after you guys. I'm so happy to be here. You guys are amazing. You know what I noticed that at 500 miles an hour, you move about 40 miles in 5 minutes, and I don't ever see any chemtrails with any sort of curve much to them.
Well
And
said.
they're always straight lines.
Yep.
So
Guess what,
if you
Gene?
can follow a plane for 5 minutes, that's a good amount of time. 40 miles is going to show something.
Gene,
I never-
that's a prescient observation. Prescient, not precious, but a prescient, but precious as well. Guess what? My mother pointed that out to me this week.
I'm not
Literally
sure I
this
know
week,
what that word means.
my own mother pointed that out. So that's awesome.
I have a couple. The first comment by FE Patriots: at a speed of 500 miles per hour, the plane would fly at just over 8 miles per minute. Therefore, the rate of descent in the first minute from the starting position is just under 50 feet and then increases.
Exponentially.
Yeah.
31 miles at the end of the 500 miles of its flight from the starting position. So that averages about 2,800 feet of descent per minute.
Wow.
There you
Wow.
go. That's exactly my calculation. 2,777 around the globe. Exactly.
FE Patriot's pretty good. He's really
That's
good.
all fictitious.
Thank you for
It's all
joining us too,
obviously.
FE.
Fictitious.
Yep.
It's a dreamland. The globe is from fairyland. Dreamland.
It's non sequitur.
Voila. Non sequitur.
Yes. And the fact that at no educational level, at zero educational level, is anyone ever taught the Earth curvature equation. You don't get it in preschool. You don't get it in elementary school. You don't get it in middle school. You don't get it in junior high school, university, undergraduate work, postgraduate work, doctoral work. You don't get
even
it
talk about it.
because it doesn't exist. The flat Earth, the curvature equation was created by people who were looking for the curve.
Yes, exactly.
But you know what equation they gave us that makes zero sense is E equals MC squared, and you can't apply it.
Yeah.
You can't apply that to anything in real life.
That's to support their myth of the nuclear bombs. That's all that was.
Yeah, and gravity.
Hocus pocus to cover hocus pocus.
That's
Hey,
their magic fairy dust.
reference Fairyland. We all know this
That's
quote. I looked up the quote by Tesla on Einstein,
Yeah.
and I'll just reiterate it here. So, because it was on the subject a couple minutes ago, Einstein's relativity work is a magnificent mathematical garb. This is heliocentrism as well.
Right.
Magnificent medical garb which fascinates, dazzles, and makes people blind to the underlying errors. The theory is like a beggar clothed in purple, whom ignorant people take for a king. Its exponents are brilliant men, but they are metaphysicists rather than scientists. Wow.
Well, there it is.
Yes.
Tesla-
sir.
One of my favorite quotes from Tesla. Absolutely a great. They bounce
That's
from
it.
equation after equation until they get the answer they're trying to
Yes.
arrive to.
Oh, yeah. That's another
Nobody in
part
the
of
class
it. Right.
understands anything.
There was a documentary just put out yesterday, a good one, by the way, people should check out, called Flatten the Curve, by a bunch of pilots and military people. That's our term. That's our flat Earth term.